So now, if you ever thought about going to an emergent country and build software for them, we're going to have Gonçalo Queirós from Porto Tech Center to explain us a little bit about how it is done. Gonçalo Queirós.
Ana, está? Quer só pedir isto aqui. Hi. We are here to talk about development challenges when selling in emergent markets. My name is Gonçalo Queirós. I currently work at Caimu. And first of all, I would like to thank the organization for the day, the rest of my fellow speakers, and to all of you who taken the entire day just to come and learn something. So I would like to start by asking who knows what Caimu is? Good, so basically the people I work with and no one else. And for that reason, the first 2 minutes I will just give you a simple overview of what we do and why most of you don't know us. And then I will jump into the challenges of developing emergent markets. So, what is Caimu? We are an online marketplace. We allow, we unite buyers with sellers. So we allow buyers to buy products from sellers, and we allow sellers to sell them to buyers. We operate in emergent markets, and this is probably the reason why most of you never heard of us. And when we talk about emergent, we really talk about emergent. And it's developed here in Porto Tech Center. This was the map when I started doing the presentation. This is all the countries that we had, because currently we lost 3 countries in, this has a pointer. This. We lost 3 countries here in Southeast Asia, but we gained a new country in Europe, so it's pretty dynamic. It accounted for 37 countries, spread among Africa, Asia and Middle East, and Europe. Europe, we are usually on the eastern part. Oops, sorry. So, as our code base, we have only one code base. There is no one code base for Angola, one code base for Nigeria, one code base for Indonesia. No, we stick to one code base for all of the countries. The only difference is that we have one storage per each country. So basically MySQL, Memcache, Solr, Mongo, all that stuff. If there is one for Nigeria, there is one for Indonesia, so that we have separate. And we have multiple servers with multiple countries. So basically the hardware is shared for some of the countries, not among all of them, but for some we have clusters of hardware. While I was preparing the presentation, I thought, since I'm here to talk about the challenges, I was thinking on the challenges that we had, and I thought, why didn't we had that many hard challenges? We had a few, of course, but why not so many? Probably because of our configuration system. We basically have the same code base, and then we have a configuration system that allows countries to switch on and off the features on the website, but we also have some configurations on configuration files, sorry about the redundancy, which, for example, specify what's the currency of the country, what is the decimal separator, the thousand separator, etc., all the things that Matthias was telling you about. So, jumping into the challenges. Let's start with the cultural challenges, which are the first ones that you get when you develop on these emerging markets. Language, it's the first and the most obvious one. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't read, it's not because of the quality of the image, it's actually because this is gibberish completely. And this is not even from Africa or Middle East. This is actually from Europe, from Georgia. And for us, although the interface across all the countries is almost the same, if we got an email from someone complaining that the user went to my account, this menu, that, if we want to reproduce this on live or on staging, we get this kind of language and it gets hard to navigate. So, harder to navigate when you don't know the language, sorry, and the screenshots with errors, which hopefully they send us through email saying, okay, please check this error. They are also useless because we don't understand the language. Time zone. This is mostly a problem when you are dealing with countries that are ahead of you. So basically our countries in Southeast Asia are around 6 to 8 hours ahead of us. So basically they start working when it's the middle of our night. So when they start working, if the website is down, they will call you. And trust me, it's not fun when it's 3 or 4 a.m. and you are waking up and everything is down. So imagine your current day, the site is down. So you charge everything you have and you dedicate 100% to that problem and you just rest and when the problem is dealt with. Now imagine having to do this. Hello, who is this? So it's very complicated. There is actually a funny story once. It was not with me. A friend of mine got a call telling him that all Asia was down. He was completely sleepy and all Asia was down, all Asia was down. And the guy immediately went to the computer and he started checking. So Indonesia, it's up. Then he went to Philippines, it was up. And then, oh no, all Asia is down, all Asia was down. It was Malaysia that was down. So, religion. At some point, it will also affect you, the religion. You will have to do some adjustments because of that. This is our maintenance page. It has nothing wrong. It's what it is. And we had a recurring problem. We knew, because some of these items are configurable. So the phone, the images, I think most of the home page is configurable, but we had a problem. Each time we deployed, the configurations were lost. And we knew about this, but since this is the maintenance page and it's not supposed to appear to anyone, this was one of those problems that I will deal with it later. Until one country complained that this was a major blocker for them. And we tried to understand with them, why is the home page okay? It's not that pretty, but why is it a blocker for you guys? Because it has skin, okay? So if it has skin, it couldn't appear. So for them, it was a huge blocker. And it will probably be in your path if you start developing for emerging countries. This was the weirdest feature that we had so far. It was called random pricing. And for anyone dealing with marketplaces or with online shopping, if you hear random pricing, it shouldn't be good because you want your price to be fixed and not random. And the actual proposition was that at checkout, if the item costs $10, it would cost $10.07, $10.10, $10.23. And for us Europeans, it's very hard to understand how can some customer trust in you if you are showing them random pricings. The explanation is actually pretty reasonable, and it happened in Indonesia. The problem is that in Indonesia, the only thing that you get on your bank account is the amount and an ID of a transaction. So imagine if you are a power seller selling thousands of items, and of those thousands, hundreds have the same price. Imagine checking who bought what, who paid for what. So what they culturally have in Indonesia is that they add this random pricing. So instead of paying 10 bucks, I'm paying 10 bucks and 7 cents. My neighbor is paying 10 bucks and 23 cents. And this is how they know that I paid, okay? And it works for them. So, moving on to political challenges. So, for example, in Belarus, which is in Europe, by the way, it's not very far, it's mandatory that all the services that operate in the country have the servers in their territory. Basically what we did, we have a proxy there, a server that just acts as a proxy, and we channel all the traffic through the server, and it's fine for them, so it's okay. In Uzbekistan, this is kind of hard to say names of these countries, but in Uzbekistan, the international internet traffic is paid by the users. So basically, it means that as long as you don't access any server outside your country, you are not charged an extra. As long as you start accessing servers that are outside the country, you get a monthly bill. I don't know exactly how it works. So what we did, and once again, we have a proxy, but in this case, we are paying the traffic for our customers. So basically, they are just arriving to our proxy server, and the international traffic is on us. And there are some weird cases where American companies can't deal with the countries where we are in, and the countries where we are in, or where we could be in, can't deal with American countries. And the most annoying are usually SSL certificates, which are very hard to get. And we currently use Amazon AWS, and we can't. So technical challenges, jumping to technical challenges. So this is, I will pick two examples of problems that we had and talk a bit about them. So one day Philippines page was down, home page was down, okay? And we soon found out that memcache limit of entry of 1 megabyte was blowing up everything. We were basically trying to store the locations data on a single entry, and it had more data than one megabyte. So basically, locations data is something that we all know. You choose a region, you choose a city, those kinds of stuff. This is the location data. We actually also have a third level, which are districts, okay? So, to give you a bit of context, if we go through all of our countries and we sum up regions and cities, we have something between 6 to 1400. And we were working with that on the memcache, and we had no problems so far. But on Philippines alone, there are almost 40,000 districts. So that was the reason why our memcache was completely lost. So we were storing basically 3 keys on memcache. You all have an idea of what memcache is, I suppose. We were storing cities with all the cities data, regions with all the regions data, and districts with all the districts data. So basically, this key was trying to hold the 40,000 districts and couldn't, so it was blowing up. So what we did, remember, this was live and probably a poor decision, but basically what we did, we just tried to minimize as much data as possible into the keys of the memcache. So now we were radical. Only IDs. Okay, great. So now how do I fetch all the regions? Okay, basically you come and fetch all the IDs, and then for each ID you fetch one of that entry. So if we have 100 regions, that basically means that to get the 100 regions information, memcache will be hit 101 times. One for this and 100 for this. And we basically apply this to cities and to districts. Although it's not here, we apply to all of them. So everyone was happy. Philippines homepage was up again until 5 minutes later, where all the countries on that server start really slow down. Why? Because Memcache was having now thousands of hits. So it could now store all the information, but we were hitting it pretty hard right now. And the front-end servers were actually taking too long to process all the requests. So basically, instead of just having Philippines down, we were almost killing all the countries in there. So we basically took a bit more time, and we thought, okay, it was a stupid decision what we did, so we basically redone that. Remember that just for fetching the 100 regions, we would eat the Memcache 101 times. You just need to extrapolate for the 40,000 districts, okay? So basically what we did, it's the final solution, the one that we currently have, which is, okay, we have an entry for regions, which has all the ID and the name of the regions. And then, because we only need to fetch cities aggregated with regions, we basically have one entry that has all the cities for a given region. So, and the same goes for the districts and the city. So this is how we currently work with locations. It's okay for our case, so this is one of those things that you always have to pay attention to. It depends on what you have. So moving on, location, location, location. Why is this important? So as I told you, we use Amazon AWS. We use European servers to African countries because there is no Africa cluster in Amazon. And we use Asian servers for Southeast Asia and Middle East countries. And this is our communication system. So basically, we have an incoming request. Let's say someone bought a product, and we need to warn the buyer that he bought the product, the seller that he sold a new product. And in order for this process to not block the rest of the page, we basically throw the email or the SMS or whatever needs to be sent to a queue to be dealt with later. And then we just continue the process and everything is gone. So the queue ends up having lots of emails and SMS, hopefully not a lot, but some. The problem was that in Pakistan, the queue kept growing. But on every other country, regardless of its location, it showed no problem. There were no campaigns in Pakistan. There was nothing special in Pakistan that would justify this. So, explaining a bit more how the things are consumed later. So they are put into the queue. Then there is a consumer that just grabs the 25 topmost email or SMSs or whatever, and it goes by each one of them, processes the data, and sends the email or SMS through an external service. So in order to put some numbers in this, in Pakistan we send 26,000 emails and 9,000 SMS each weekday. But if we account just for the business hours, which are 17 hours, more or less, we basically send all of those on these 17 hours, which gives us an average of 1,300 emails and 500 messages per hour. The problem was that Pakistan was taking 3 seconds just to send one email or one SMS. And if we do the math, with 3 seconds, we basically can dispatch 1,200 email or SMSs. If we go back, we basically had to dispatch 1,800. So we are basically lacking 600 behind. So every minute we were having 10 new messages that were piling up the queue. This is an average, of course. So, what did we find out? Why was this happening in Pakistan and not in every other country? Because Pakistan services on our side are in Singapore, in Asia. But the external services that we use to send emails and SMSs are located in Europe. And there was a problem, an outage in the communication. It was not it couldn't be fixed by us. But since the net was so slow, we had this problem. Okay, and we didn't see this on other Asian countries because the number of emails and SMS per hour, it's much lower. So the quick solution that we implemented was to basically just span to additional consumers for a total of 3,600 emails and SMS, and that fixed the problem until the company could fix the latency issue. And this is it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
We still have some time, so please, questions? I think no?
No.
They need something, I don't know.
What about payment methods? Oh, great question. So, payment methods. We also have some problems with payment methods because we have PayPal there. We don't use it. I think it's for business rules, not our concern. We use some things that we never heard of in Europe. Mostly the payment methods that work with mobile. So basically they don't have to go to a bank and do the wire. They just receive a PIN and they respond to an SMS, and the payment is done from the mobile directly to the seller's wallet. For you to imagine how what technical problems we faced when developing payment methods in these emergent markets, there are some sandboxes, for example, where they basically have manual validation. So you want to test, you are on your staging environment, you are testing the payment method, you click buy, okay, you put all the data, and now we are waiting for someone to manually confirm that the payment was done because the sandbox has manual confirmation. But this is not the worst case. We actually have one country that it has no sandbox. What the guys did, they just sent us a visa and they told us, please buy cheap things, okay? And this is how they operate. So any more questions? I just had one. Okay, yeah, one hand. With a, sorry? Right to left?
It's right to left.
Yeah, we were implementing right to left, I think 6 or 7 months ago. To be honest, I wasn't the responsible for that, but we basically have we use SAS and Compass for the CSS, and we basically had to fine-tune some of the options there, but I don't know much more about it. I don't know if that answered your question, probably.
It was just a curiosity.
Basically, if we just have all the entire, I don't have a screenshot, but we have the entire site from right to left. Even the sidebar that was on the right, on one of my first slides, is shown on the left, but there is no particular concern regarding right to left. It went pretty smooth, so. Sorry?
Imagine that you have a username.
Wait a second.
Okay. Imagine that you have some username. They use it like from left to right. They don't turn it to right to left.
Yeah,
There are some concerns that we have to take when developing some
Not that I recall. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, there is it's not a header. It's a meta tag. I think that you insert on the page.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it basically switches everything for you.
Yeah,
So
it's in the body, I guess, or something, and it turns all the
so
thing to.
besides that,
okay.
and those minor adjustments on CSS, composite, etc., we haven't seen big issues with right to left so far.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.